Hey everyone, Aaron here with a fresh new video. Gonna be reviewing Hercules' T7 controller. I'm gonna give you the 5 features that I really like about this controller, and if you stick around to the end, I'll give you a couple of bonus features that's only for you for waiting to the end of the video. Let's get into it. One of the things that interested me the most in this, it wasn't the fact that it has motorized jog wheels, it was the paddle effects. Paddle effects are just a lot more fun to activate. You know, on my other controllers, it's just like a button for effects, but with paddles, you can flip up, you can hold them, let it go, and then it's got these 3 buttons next to the paddles where you can choose which effects you want to run from Serato. And what's cool about this one, and it's different than the Rev 5, is that you can run all those effects at the same time. So whatever buttons you push in, you can push all of it, all 3 of them in, or all 6. You can have 6 different effects running. It's going to sound ridiculous. It's going to be like, remember when we were kids and you would go to this soda machine and you would just like, we used to call it, what we call it, like the suicide, where you just like got every single one. And it's just a brown mess. I wouldn't suggest doing that, but if you want to double up or triple up on some effects, you can do that with the paddles. Very cool. We gotta talk about the price point. $699 for a 2-channel controller, motorized jog wheels, XLR outs. Right away, that takes this from being a beginner amateur controller up to pro level by putting those XLRs out. $699, it's almost impossible to find anything at that price right now. So when that came out, it just blew my mind. This is at that price point. Now, it is plastic, okay? There's not a lot of metal, except for the jog wheels. Those feel great. But the nice thing about it being plastic is it's lighter. It's only 11 pounds. So that's one thing to really consider that I really appreciate Hercules did, was keep that price point under $1,000. And this time, it's just crazy. The motorized jog wheels. A lot of you out there are turntable DJs, and you know, when Rain 1 came out, we're like, whoa, we've got motorized jog wheels on a controller. And then the Rev 7 came out, took it up a notch. And now Hercules added it to theirs as well. So if that's something that you really like, I think you're really going to enjoy it. Like for me, it wasn't like a big feature because I don't use turntables. I haven't been used to it. I started DJing on a controller, but I will say, like, looking down at it and seeing them spin around, there's something about that makes you feel more like a DJ, like you got like actual records in front of you, and that's kind of cool. One thing that you have to consider with the jog wheels going that way is nudging is a little bit different. Now with a controller jog wheel that doesn't move, you know, you can nudge, you know, to beat match by just touching it. So with the jog wheels moving, it doesn't really work that way. I saw a couple of people hacking it different ways, by either putting their fingers like, you know, in the middle of the jog wheel and spinning it that way, or if you hold your fingers close to the jog wheel and kind of like create some tension there, it'll slow it down. Or if you're right on it, you can kind of nudge it a little bit. But the best way probably nudging is using the parameter buttons underneath. Here's a feature I haven't seen mentioned yet, and that's when you push play and you push the fader up to get the song going through. On either deck 1 or deck 2, where it says deck 1, deck 2, that lights up. It lets you know, hey, this is the deck that's running, that's live. Same thing with the knob that you use to add songs. That lights up too. So it's these nice features where you look down instead of looking at your computer, where you can look down and be like, okay, I'm live on deck 1, you know, and then you're not going to screw up. Sidebar on the knobs, I do like how everything feels on this. It's nice and tight. All the knobs feel that way. They don't feel cheap. They're not loose. Like, you got to really spin them. Same thing, I like the big knob at the top where you'll go to select your songs and you just click it and it'll load it right into deck 1. It's on the other side, load it into deck 2. And then this one also has a clicky knob for auto loop, which I prefer that. So you click it to set the loop and you spin it to go up, you know, 4, 8, 16, 32, however many beats you want to loop. You can pull it back the same way. Most new controllers I think that we see come out now are going to have this feature, and that's stem controls, built-in stem controls. Now, I know if you have an older controller, you can map your controller in Serato or VDJ or whatever you're using. With the stem buttons they have laid out on the T7, it makes it super easy. Just on the pads, hit the stems button, and you'll see that they all kind of like light up blue. And there you've got instrument, your bass, your melody, your vocals. So anytime you tap one of those buttons, it makes that stem disappear. So as you tap through, if you tap off the vocals go away, melody, bass, they go away. And then right next to them, we've got those 2 individual buttons that are basically isolating the stems. So if I hit the vocals, then that just gives me vocals. And by the way, the pads are rubber, but they're not tapped, so you got to click them. So they're tappy, but they're RGB, which is cool. So they all light up different colors. Now I want to give you a couple of bonus features. Again, I was watching a lot of videos on this controller, wanted to give you a fresh take on it. So here's some things I don't think you knew that the Hercules Impulse T7 could do. Watching, everybody. If you liked what you saw, hit that like button, hit that subscribe, supports the channel. Also, if you're interested in picking this controller up, there is a link in the description. Click on that link specifically, because guess what? That helps me out. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I usually get back to everybody. I'll see you at the next one.